Hi there guys, welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero Show with me, your host, Simon Conboy. Just continuing to plough on through these free agency reviews, the first wave having finished up early in the week. Continuing with the AFC North, and this episode will be focusing on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last year won the division. Deserving winner in my opinion. The division wasn't as strong as it has been in the past. Offensively, some of the top talent in the league, Antonio Brown, receiver, Le'Veon Bell, running back. They'll get some guys back. As long as Roethlisberger performs at a high level, you expect, last year's offense was prolific. That should continue. I don't think Roethlisberger was at his best last season. Really started to slow down. I don't know if there was some injuries there that we didn't necessarily hear about. I don't know how much longer he'll be around. He's took an absolute shoeing over his career. So you heard him mention retirement this off-season. I don't think it's coming this year or next, but who knows? Especially in the modern NFL, we're seeing some players retiring at younger ages than I've been used to. And defensively, a very positive season, I think, for them. Really rebuilt that defence in the last few years, bringing in younger and younger players. It's really started to bear fruit this season. They're a lot quicker and more athletic than they have been. The young defenders in the defensive backfield really played quite well. Ryan Shazier is turning into a top talent. It's not a huge amount of high-end talent, I don't think, across the defence, but they played very well, schemed very well, and somehow James Harrison keeps on going. So my needs for the Steelers entering the off-season, I've got outside linebacker. I think they can't rely on James Harrison to continue that level of production. Once a player's that age, you don't know if they're going to be able to produce or not the following season. I wouldn't bet against him. But I need some more options at that spot. You can never have too many pass rushers anyway, so that's a major need. I think they could do with some more defensive backs. It's still a young group, room to improve, but a bit more quality, another high-end sort of player there would really assist. And I really think they need to start looking to the future at quarterback. Landry Jones has not shown me anything in the times that he has played, and that includes in the preseason. I don't think he looks like a starter. Roethlisberger, of course, has missed games throughout his career, and as I say, retirement could be on the horizon. They've got a pretty strong roster all round, to be honest. There's not a whole lot of sort of the gaping holes. There's a lot of teams you can look at and be like, well, they absolutely have to address this. The Steelers have done a very good job pretty much across the board of constructing a pretty darn solid roster. So just generally depth, getting younger at positions where they're older. Every team can do with more offensive linemen, that kind of thing. A bit more difficult coming up with needs for this team than a lot of the others, which is a testament to the front office. So going into the players they've signed, they've not been a particularly active team. I've said in previous videos, I'll continue to say it, the better organisations tend not to be too active at this time of year. They tend not to need to be. And once again, the Steelers have proven that to be the case. Nothing major really to report. I suppose the most significant development was with Lev Bell. He has re-signed with the team as a free under the tag. It's the restricted franchise tag. So you've got the two versions of the tag. One of them, a team can give up 2 first rounders to create an offer sheet to try and sign said player, and then the team who's tagged him has the option as to whether to match. If they decline, the player will leave the team and they will get 2 first-round draft picks in compensation. That was the tag I was expecting to have placed on Le'Veon Bell for a couple of reasons. Simply, I can't imagine in this day and age of the NFL a team giving up 2 first-rounders for a running back. In particular, one who's had suspension issues, who's had injury problems throughout their career. I mean, Lev Bell's still incredibly young. I think he's only 25. But even without those, I'm not sure a team would. running back position just isn't viewed that way. It's not a long-term investment like certain other positions, of course, and there is still the theory that you can find a solid one through a variety of different means. And I'm inclined to agree with that to some degree. However, they've restricted it so that teams do not have the option to do so. I think that's been done because it is also more expensive. I believe it costs them an extra $4 million next year or so. I believe that's been done as a way of sort of keeping the players sweet, them saying, okay, well, we're not willing to cut a long-term deal at this point. If you keep your nose clean, continue to perform at the level that you have, next season you can expect to see a monster contract. He'll probably end up being the highest paid running back the league has ever seen. Pays him a lot more money. It's a perfectly reasonable contract. So I think it's a logical solution. I think it keeps the player on board more than using the unrestricted tag. So, smart move. Lev Bell, of course, vital to that offense. And in particular, if we do see, I thought I saw signs of, as I say, regression, whether it was perhaps injury, I'm not sure, in Roethlisberger at the end of last season. We'll see whether that is the case. Either way, Lev Bell's going to be, an integral part of that offense. Outside of that, signed tight end David Johnson, 2 years, $2 million. That's just a blocking tight end. I think Jesse James, the rookie, he showed enough last year that you'd think he'll be the number one going into next season. I don't know if you can replace Heath Miller and sort of what he gave that club, who was a great blocking tight end who came up with catches when they were needed, was never utilised hugely in the passing game. But, this isn't one of the gross tight end contracts. As I'm sure some of you might be sick of if you've watched a lot of these videos. I've been moaning about these. This is a perfectly fine example. 2 years veteran minimum kind of deal, $2 million. That's fine. It's always going to be difficult to criticise a team unless a player's a pure locker room cancer for that kind of low end contract. They've brought back Landry Jones. As I said earlier, do not believe him to be a starting quarterback in this league. I think if Roethlisberger goes down, they're in a degree of trouble. I mean, they've got so many playmakers on offense. Lev Bell can still carry that offense, even if they don't have a threat at quarterback. He knows the system. It's a pretty low end contract for a backup as well. 2 years, $4 million. I mean, some of the higher end backups are being paid double that. Not a huge amount to discuss there. They've also signed Justin Hunter, who's been a chronic underachiever in his career. Former, I believe, was a second round pick for the Titans. It's a crowded receiver room in Pittsburgh. I've not got contract details there. I'll be surprised, to be honest, if he makes any kind of impact. I mean, the kid's got talent. He's big. It's good speed for his size. They don't necessarily have a big physical receiver. We'll see what happens there. Don't expect anything from this signing, to be honest. In terms of the losses, Lawrence Timmons. I'm sure Steelers fans will be somewhat disappointed to see him go. They'll understand it. It's starting to show his age a bit, struggling in coverage, which used to be a strength of his. But he's been a stable force in the middle for that team for a number of years. One of those kind of unsung players around the league who's just quietly and consistently rock solid every single season. Was a tackling machine earlier in his career. He's gone to Miami. I can understand with the contract he was offered why he's gone. I think it'll be hard to replace sort of that presence. I think he's sort of the last, outside of maybe Harrison, the last of that remnant of those great Steeler defenses of 5, 6, 7 years ago. So he had a great tenure with the team. I'm sure some Steelers fans will be sad to see him go. It'll be interesting to see what he does in Miami. Jarvis Jones, been a bust, and that was a pick I thought was fantastic value for the Steelers when they made it a few years ago in the draft. He's gone to Arizona. I don't think that's a particularly big deal for them. Bud Dupree's, I think, clearly a better player. I don't think he'll be particularly missed. Didn't really develop at all during his time in Pittsburgh. A clean break is probably needed for the player. And Marcus Wheaton, a mediocre receiver, he's gone. As I say, it's a pretty crowded group there, so I don't think that's a particularly big deal. Still plenty of their names out there in free agency. Justin Gilbert, I'll be shocked if he's even back in the league. Some team might sign to a minimum contract because the talent, but he shouldn't be playing in this league, frankly. He's shown me nothing. D'Angelo Williams, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go back. Of course, filled in admirably when Le'Veon Bell has not been available. I'd expect that would, of course, be a low-end contract at this point. I would hope, even if they do bring him back, that they look for another option. Of course, he's older. You don't know when his level of play could decline, particularly at running back, where it can go absolutely off a cliff. Had a lot of carries in his career, and Bell, as good as he is not the most reliable player in the league. And got a few others, but none particularly significant out there. So I think things generally are looking very positive for the Steelers. I think the biggest hindrance for them next year could be, if Antonio Brown or Lev Bell gets hurt, if Roethlisberger starts to regress. I'm really hoping that was an anomaly at the end of the year, because I really enjoy watching, a healthy Roethlisberger play. Fun quarterback to watch. It's one of the more entertaining offenses for sure. Their offensive line's very, very solid. Generally an entertaining team to watch. If Roethlisberger goes down, then not necessarily goes down, but his standard of play isn't, what we've become accustomed to, then, things may change. But even then, still a pretty good all-round roster. You have to think they're going to be one of the favourites in the AFC again. If the team can just stay healthy, which have had problems keeping those top offensive players on the field for prolonged periods of time, then they're going to be as dangerous as anybody, you would have to think. So, yeah, all positive for you guys. Good job, Steelers fans. You got a real favourite, I think, on paper, this team. So, what do you guys think? Do you think the Steelers are one of the Super Bowl favourites going into next season? Do you think there's any glaring needs on this roster? Have I been perhaps too generous? I certainly think this is one of my more glowing reviews of a team. As I say, they've not done particularly much in free agency. I understand, the one thing, as I did say earlier, just so it doesn't sound like I'm, too firmly on some kind of Steelers bandwagon, is defensively, I don't think there's much top-end talent. I think Shazier is a top-end talent. I think Bud Dupree can be. He's not there yet. Other than that, there's just some solid players like Cam Hayward's fine. Of course, it could do with, a star or two to really boost the overall level of play. It might be somewhat like when I was discussing how the Cowboys played, where they played somewhat above their talent level with a year of tape. Things may change, but that offense is so strong, they're going to put up points. Do you guys think I've been too glowing? Let me know. Steelers fans, what do you think? Are you guys excited for the season? How long do you think the Super Bowl window is? And do you agree? Do you think Roethlisberger declined at the end of the season? Do you think that might be a sign of things to come? Let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you all. Suggestions for shows would be great. As always, check out the Patreon, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Check out the Twitter, check out the Facebook group. Going to really start trying to be more active, getting that going, making that something worth going on over the next week or so. There'll be some new graphics and stuff coming up on the show soon, thanks to a friend of mine. That's going to be a big improvement. I think everything will look a lot nicer, so that'll be grand. Pleasure as always. Check out all the other shows if you enjoyed this one, and as always, go Bucks.